To retrieve the keepsake of his beloved's late mother, my husband risked his life in an underground fight. In our past life, when I had a sudden heart attack, he turned back to save me and missed his chance to enter the ring. His beloved failed to reclaim her mother's memento and, overwhelmed by grief, leapt to her death. My husband calmly handled her funeral arrangements, but on the 7th day after her passing, he stuffed me into a punching bag and beat me to death. You faked a heart attack to make me miss my chance, and you got Juan killed. I'm going to make you pay with your life. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on that day, the day of my heart attack, but this time, I wouldn't call him. If he's in such a hurry to get himself killed, then let him. As I collapsed, the pain in my chest was excruciating. With my last ounce of strength, I grabbed my phone. The memories of my past life still echo in my mind, the pain of my husband. Lin Su, a professional boxer, punching me over and over, beating me to death like a sandbag, hasn't faded. Reborn into this moment, I chose not to call him. I won't stop him from risking his life for his beloved white moonlight. But when I dialed the emergency number, it was his good brother, Su Hao, who answered the phone. Heart disease. Sis, you really just say whatever comes to mind, don't you? I know you're worried about Su and want to stop him from boxing. But you don't have to curse yourself like that, do you? Su Hao thought I couldn't get in touch with Lin Su, so I called him instead, and even made up a lame excuse about a heart attack. No, that's not it. I wasn't trying to reach Lin Su. Sis, you don't have to say it, I get it. It's normal for a woman to be jealous, especially when it's someone like Sister Wan, a total goddess. Su Hao started berating me. My breath grew fainter and fainter. I couldn't die now, otherwise. What was the point of being given a second chance at life? I gritted my teeth and told him to stop. Call an ambulance to my place. If I die, it's on you for dereliction of duty. I'm not talking about Lin Su right now, Wang Meng. Only because you're brother Su's wife will I let the matter of you wasting public resources slide. We're both women, so why are you the only one being so petty? Su is his own man. He can choose to work for whoever he wants. Su Hao hung up the phone in a huff, saying he'd never met someone as shameless as me. They have to drag our private family matters into the public eye, and then accuse me of throwing a tantrum. If this blows up, it's Lin Su who'll lose face. I know they're thick as thieves, but I never expected Su Hao to have the nerve to go this far. He hung up on me without even knowing the full story. My consciousness was fading, and I barely had the strength to tap the screen. If this continued, I was a dead man, in my past life. As Lin Su was on his way to fight in an underground match to win a keepsake for his unrequited love, I called and made him turn back. In his panic, he rushed me to the hospital and stayed through my surgery, which caused him to miss his chance to compete. By the time he arrived at the scene, the memento of Bai Ruan's mother had already been won by his opponent, a man he had once defeated. Lin Su saw the profound disappointment in Bai Yuiguang's eyes and whispered an apology to her. But Bai Ruan refused to see him again. A few days later, news arrived of her death. In a desperate attempt to curry favor with the winner and retrieve her mother's keepsake, she offered herself to him, only to find he was a man of extreme violence. Not only did they torment Bai Ruan, but they also beat her black and blue. She thought that would be enough to reclaim what was rightfully hers, but the other party went back on their word, unable to bear the humiliation. Bai Ruan jumped from a tall building. Lin Su handled her remains and took care of Bai Ruan's funeral arrangements. He didn't utter a single word of blame towards me. However, on the 7th day after Bai Ruan's death, he drugged me, tied me up inside a sandbag like a punching bag, and pummeled me with his fists, blow after blow. You faked a heart attack and made me miss my chance. That guy was no match for me. It was a guaranteed win. It's all your fault that Wan died. I should have just let you waste away from your illness, Wang Ming. How did I ever end up married to such a vicious woman? He hit me so hard my ears were ringing and I started seeing things. My whole body ached. So that's why he resents me for causing Bai Ruan's death. He wants me to pay with my life. She and her mother only had each other growing up. That was her mother's only keepsake, the very thing that kept her going. And just because she was jealous, you got possessive. In the end, Lin Su beat me to death, and even that wasn't enough to satisfy his rage. He said we should never meet again in the next life. He said, Wang Meng, you're a menace. You don't deserve to die just once. 100 deaths wouldn't be enough. Output only translation, matching, content_type, format. My body wouldn't stop trembling. When I finally got through on the phone again, it wasn't Su Hao who answered. I provided my address and explained my situation. Heart disease, it's her again. Su Hao snatched the phone from the person beside him and roared, Sis, how many times are you going to pull this stunt? When will you give up? Su Hao, a life is at stake. We should still dispatch the vehicle. Don't be fooled by her. That woman is a master manipulator. If she hadn't schemed against Brother Su back then, Sister Wanwan would have married him long ago. Suha was telling someone about my past. About the night of the graduation party when we all drank far too much. I had a crush on Lin Su for a long time. He's a professional boxer and has a really strong sense of justice. On my first day of school, some creep was taking upskirt photos of me on the subway. Lin Su chased him off and made him apologize to me. He said scum like that deserves to be knocked out cold, and told me to be more careful in the future. I'd been secretly in love with him for 4 years. That day, we drank a lot together. And that night, Lin Su and I accidentally got locked in a room together. We talked about many things, and later, in a daze, he held me close. He lowered his head to kiss me, his body burning with a startling heat. The moonlight that night was beautiful. Lin Su was fierce that night too. I didn't push him away. I thought he loved me. Little did I know it was all a scheme. Lin Su had been set up, and he turned his suspicious gaze upon me, because Bai Ruan accidentally saw my diary. Filled with my secret crush on Lin Su, he said he would take responsibility and marry me after that incident, yet he also despised me. Even after all these years of marriage, he never touched me again. He thought I was dirty. No matter how much I tried to explain, he was convinced I had deceived him. Sis, you really need to be more sensible. Brother Su has already left and is probably on stage by now. Stop causing trouble behind his back. Suhao's colleagues didn't want to take any chances and decided to send an ambulance for me. Suhao chuckled from the side. Just wait and see. You've definitely been played by this woman. No wonder Brother Su's heart belongs to Sister Wanwan. Sometimes, sister-in-law, you should look at your own shortcomings. I lost my voice and passed out, but not before I heard the sound of the ambulance. I was rushed to the hospital. Thankfully, they got me there in time and my life was saved. Lying in the hospital ward, the doctor told me to get plenty of rest. I had just woken up when Suhao arrived. I thought he was coming to apologize to me. After all, due to his negligence at work, I genuinely had a heart attack and nearly died, but he was dismissive. Sis, your acting is really something. You even fooled our department head. Did you overexert yourself at home on purpose to trigger the attack? I was speechless and told Suhao to get out. He said Brother Su specifically asked him to come look after me. You're fine, I'll call Brother Su back. Is being a doctor some kind of joke to you? I snapped angrily. Isn't this just a hidden murderer? Suhao got through to Lin Su on the phone. He hadn't gone on stage yet and had already arrived at the venue with Bai Ruan. It was very noisy on the other end. Don't worry, Brother Su. Your sister-in-law is fine, alive and well. Lin Su's voice was icy as he said it was a good thing he hadn't come back, that he'd almost been fooled by me. You really will stop at nothing, won't you? Can't you be a little more gracious? I've already married you. What more do you want? Lin Su gave me a good scolding. He had to go get ready and didn't have time to argue with me any further. I was utterly exhausted and just wanted to rest. Who would have thought that Bai Ruan would be the one to answer the phone over there? She even deliberately started a live stream. With feigned sincerity, Bai Ruan said, "It's all my fault. If I hadn't begged A Su, you two wouldn't have argued. Sister Meng, just this once, lend A Su to me." Bai Ruan said that thing was of vital importance to her, but I paid it no mind and didn't say a word. They were all stunned. In the past, I would have definitely made a huge scene and demanded an explanation from Lin Su. But today, I'm truly fed up. In my past life, I gave him my all. Baring my heart and soul, offering it to Lin Su on a silver platter, he wouldn't even glance at it, just trampled my sincerity underfoot. He demanded to know why I had to keep picking on Bai Ruan. He married me intending to build a life together, but I always had to make a scene. Sister Meng, you must be worried about A Su too, right? I'll livestream it for you guys. Bai Ruan's tone was almost boastful. She said places like that underground venue are lawless. And you're on your own if anything happens. I'd seen her social media post before. She posted a photo of Lin Su's back with the caption, "The best childhood friend in the world, who'd risk his life for me." Lin Su replied with a "you know it." I even liked that post back then. The noise over there was unbearable, and my patience had run out. I don't want to see it. Get out. The doctor said I need to rest. Come on, sis. Wanwan is doing this livestream just for you. Suha persisted. Being a real nuisance, if I were you, I'd be drafting my apology letter right about now. Him hanging up on my distress call was a major blunder. If I had died, Suha would have faced severe consequences. I won't let him get away with this. Suha's expression shifted. Sis, we're not enemies. If you keep talking like that, I'm going to get upset. What's wrong? How? Bai Ruan started playing the good guy, telling me to take my anger out on her. I'm sorry, Sister Meng. I was the one who asked how to help me. I recorded all of this, just in case. These people are so unreasonable, they don't even act human. In case they try to turn on me, I have to be extremely careful in this life. Every single step must be taken with the utmost caution. A surprised shout came from over there, as Reborn screamed and cheered for Lin Su. It's starting, Sister Meng, let me tell you. Su is at his absolute hottest when he's competing in the ring. You've never seen him fight, have you? Reborn was bragging nonstop. If this were my past life, I would have been heartbroken. The man I loved for so many years, even after marrying me, never once threw a punch in front of me, yet he was willing to risk his life for Reborn. I have to admit, I'm jealous of that. I'm willing to step aside for their epic romance, but that shouldn't come at the cost of climbing over my dead body. The fighting over there was particularly fierce. I shut my eyes, refusing to look. When a sudden cry of alarm came through the phone, Reborn looked bewildered. What's going on? What's wrong with Su? I saw on the screen that Lin Su had collapsed on the stage, motionless, and then the whole screen went black. Could he have been beaten to death? My eyes snapped open, and I was more excited than any of them. Was this a stroke of divine justice? If this is real, that would be absolutely fantastic. But I couldn't see what was happening on site. Suhao tried calling several more times, but no one picked up. He was terrified. Sis, you don't think something's happened, do you? How could it be? That guy's no match for your brother Su, I said smugly, secretly pleased at the thought. If it were true, I wouldn't even need to get my own hands dirty for revenge. Heaven would take care of that scumbag. Suhao asked. Then what about just now? The signal might be bad. With boxing, you never know who's going to win until the very last moment. Suhao was really worried about Lin Su. They grew up together, thick as thieves, and shared an incredibly close bond. He was also one of Reborn's simps. Since she was the only girl in their little group, everyone felt they had to put her on a pedestal. Even after Lin Su married me, they were still shipping the two of them, still sighing with regret over why Lin Su and Reborn never ended up together. Suhao finally calmed down. He sat on the edge of the bed and said, Sis, try not to worry so much. Sometimes, if you truly love someone, you have to know when to let go. He said I was too controlling with Lin Su. Whenever he went out with his friends, I'd always call to check up on him. That really killed the mood. Lying there, I thought about the past. It was true. My possessiveness towards Lin Su had been so intense that I was even willing to put my own career on hold. Not long after we got married, Lin Su asked me to quit my job at the dance troupe and settle into the role of a full-time housewife, focusing on taking care of him and the household. His dietary needs were quite particular, and I often found myself investing a great deal of thought and effort into preparing his meals. Yet, all my wholehearted devotion was seen by Lin Su as completely unnecessary. My heart was breaking. With Suhao gone, I tossed and turned all night, but my mind was made up. I was going to divorce Lin Su. I wasted my youth clinging to someone who never loved me. What's more, because of Reborn's suicide, Lin Su directed all his hatred toward me. There shouldn't even be the most basic affection left between us. Early the next morning, my phone was blowing up with calls. Lin Su, on the brink of death, had been rushed to emergency care. I calmly ate my breakfast, having bought my favorite wonton soup and rice cakes. I was just finishing peeling my tea egg when, outside, Suhao rushed in, breathless with excitement. It's serious, sister-in-law. It looks really bad for brother Su this time. I finished my tea egg and looked at Suhao. It's just an accident. In boxing, bumps and bruises are part of the game. Besides, didn't he say he was going to risk it all for Reborn before he left? Something really has happened. Sister-in-law, you need to go see. Quickly. I was lying there, completely worn out. The doctor told me to rest and avoid going to those kinds of places. Lin Su was nearly beaten to death. He's covered in injuries, and the doctor said there's a chance he might never wake up, that he could remain in a vegetative state for the rest of his life. Serves him right. Reborn came to me in tears, pleading, Sister Meng, no matter how much you resent Su, he's still your husband. Go see him, or at least pay his hospital bills. So now she's not talking about how her childhood sweetheart risked his life for her. Instead, she's putting the pressure on me. She really gets all the luck and love, doesn't she? With the truth about to come out and Lin Su possibly bedridden for life, Reborn was already thinking of ways to cut ties. Wait a minute. Lin Su fought in that underground match for you, to get your mother's keepsake back. Shouldn't you be the one taking care of him? You were happy to enjoy all his kindness, but somehow you never knew he was married. So now that you're lying there helpless, you finally remember your humble wife. I won't go. I was once foolishly devoted to Lin Su, practically acting as his live-in maid, and all I got in return was his contempt. Bai Ruan was frantic, so anxious she was about to kneel before me. "We didn't think this through properly," she said. "Miss Bai, we're all adults here, in an underground fight. You live or die by your own choices," I said coldly. I tried to stop Lin Su before he left, but he charged ahead without a second thought. "For you, to have a friend in life who would risk everything for you, even to the death, he can have no regrets. I'm kind of shipping you too." Bai Ruan looked incredibly smug at my words. After all, I had all the evidence on Lin Su in my hands. Even if Lin Su wakes up and recovers this time, his involvement in underground fighting will be exposed, completely ruining his career. When Su Hao entered, what he saw was Bai Ruan kneeling before me. "What are you doing, Sister Ruan? Sister-in-law, you're not blaming her, are you?" "I didn't say a thing," I said, lying there. "The doctor told me to rest. My heart's not good, I could go at any moment." Bai Ruan's tearful, delicate weeping quickly stirred a protective instinct in Su Hao. He said the accident had already happened, and no one wanted Lin Su to end up like this. "I can't blame Bai Ruan for what happened to Lin Su. I'm not blaming her. In fact, I feel like praising this touching display of friendship." The two of them looked at me as if I were a lunatic, seeing that her innocent act was getting her nowhere. Bai Ruan simply gave it up. After that day, I went about my life as usual. When Lin Su's parents came and wept for a long time, I simply laid out the facts and presented the evidence. Lin's mother held my hand and cried for a long time. "I'm so sorry you've had to go through this, Meng," she said. "That boy Lin Su never thinks of anyone but himself. You didn't deserve this," Lin's mother said. "How could you not discuss something this important with us?" I was crying, my body trembling uncontrollably. They all knew how desperately I loved Lin Su. I tried to talk him out of it, but he wouldn't listen. He said if I dared tell you, he'd divorce me. "Oh, this child, Mrs. Lin was seething with anger inside, and just at that moment, Bai Ruan returned with lunch, offering to treat us to a meal. The Lin parents' faces were dark with displeasure. "You're not welcome here. Had I known you were a jinx, that you'd even bring misfortune to A Su, I never should have agreed to it in the first place." There had been rumors in the neighborhood for a while, saying Bai Ruan was cursed, a walking bad omen. Both of her previous husbands had died, her parents have also passed away. I don't care about these matters and have no interest in discussing them, but Mrs. Lin was truly formidable. She snapped at Bai Ruan several times in quick succession. "We can see that Asu is good to you," Mrs. Lin cautioned, "but he's a married man. Please have some self-respect. Our family owes you nothing. Don't you dare ruin my son." Bai Ruan needed to apologize to Lin's mother, insisting she truly hadn't meant to do it. I sat back and watched them tear each other apart. Not having to lift a finger myself felt absolutely fantastic. "Don't come back here again. Ah Su was willing to risk his life for you, and he got what he deserved." I opened the meal beside me and started devouring it. No matter how tough things got, I wasn't about to starve myself. I stared at the man lying unconscious in the bed, wishing I could just yank out his oxygen tube right now. Killing him wouldn't even be enough to vent the rage burning inside me. Death is too good for him. Lin Su's will to live was infuriatingly strong. He regained consciousness that very night, even though both his arms and legs were broken. He's paralyzed from the waist down. He'll probably be in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Lost in thought, the man slowly regained consciousness. Meng, you're awake. Sign the divorce papers." I was prepared for this from the start. "There's no way I'm getting involved with Lin Su again. Can you please stop this?" Lin Su's tone was gentle, though his head was throbbing and his words came out a bit slurred. He was frantic, asking me where Bai Ruan was. "Can you move your hand? Sign it." "You were right, Lin Su. I shouldn't cling to a loveless marriage. I'm setting you free now, so you can be with Bai Ruan." Lin Su's face changed in an instant. He was genuinely stunned when he saw the divorce papers. "Are you serious?" "Yes." My expression was calm. Truth be told, Lin Su and I rarely had moments of quiet conversation. I've thought it through. Rather than us growing to resent the sight of each other, I'll be the one to step away, sign the papers. The mistakes of the past don't require either of us to pay the price. Just as I finished speaking, the doctor came to the door to fetch me for my tests. My heart condition is a ticking time bomb. In this second chance at life, I need to be extra careful. Revenge is on the agenda, but so is finding more joy for myself. "Did you really have a heart attack?" Lin Su asked me, probing. "It doesn't matter anymore. He'll find out soon enough whether I had an episode or not, since I've already filed the report against Su Hao. The hospital will deal with this major incident promptly." Lin Su looked at me, a trace of guilt in his eyes. "I'm sorry, Meng," he said. "I shouldn't have made you worry. I know you love me deeply, and you were just afraid for me. There's no need to say any more. I'm done gambling on this. I know you love Bai Ruan, and I'll step aside for you too. After he tortured and killed me in our past life, Lin Su ran off to commit a lover's suicide with Bai Ruan. He said he hated himself for not being brave enough, for hiding his feelings too deeply. He should have pursued her actively and told Bai Ruan how he truly felt. Are you absolutely sure about this? Yes, Lin Su's heart clearly belonged to Bai Ruan. That's why he didn't try to stop me when I asked for a divorce. To make it up to me, he gave me the lion's share of our assets. I was finally free of him. I got the divorce papers I wanted, and the split with Lin Su was settled. Lin Su excitedly took out his phone to contact Bai Ruan, but after several calls, Bai Ruan didn't answer. Dejected, Lin Su lay there, watching the sunset outside the window as countless thoughts flooded his mind. The doctor had already told him the worst-case scenario. He might be confined to a wheelchair for life. I've been hurt before, and I recovered just fine after some rest. That time was even worse than this. Lin Su said he was confident he could get back to his old self. He couldn't spend his whole life in a wheelchair. What kind of life is that? The doctors mentioned the worst-case scenario was a possibility, but they didn't want to crush Lin Su's hope. But I knew, Lin Su was done for this time. Several days later, Bai Ruan finally appeared, arriving in a flurry of worry. Su, you're awake. Ruan, where have you been lately? I'm so sorry. I couldn't win that jade pendant for you. Lin Su was filled with remorse, apologizing to Bai Ruan over and over. Bai Ruan's eyes reddened. She shook her head. It's all right. Perhaps it just wasn't meant to be. When Bai Ruan learned that Lin Su might spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair, her face fell. I'm sorry, Su, she said. I'm divorced. Wang Meng and I are divorced. Lin Su grabbed Bai Ruan's hand, his voice trembling with emotion. There's something I need to tell you. I'm in love with you, Ruan. I've been in love with you for years. He said that if it weren't for this incident, for staring death in the face, he would never have understood the depth of his own longing. Let's be together. You love me too, don't you? Lin Su insisted that Bai Ruan must have feelings for him, yet he saw not a trace of joy in her eyes. She even seemed troubled, hesitating as if she had something important to announce. The reason I came today is to tell you, I'm getting married. What? With a loud crash, the water glass on the side fell to the floor, shattering into pieces. Bai Ruan handed over the invitation. And Lin Su was nearly shattered himself when he saw the groom's name on it. His anger flared even hotter. Are you marrying him for that jade pendant? Yes, he said he'd give it to me, if only I would marry him. As Bai Ruan's words hung in the air, Lin Su seemed to lose his mind. He pointed at himself, his voice a furious accusation directed at her. Then what about me? What is my life worth? Fearing Lin Su might do something reckless, Bai Ruan pleaded. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me, but Su, that jade pendant, it means too much to me. I'm sorry, Su. Bai Ruan's tearful face was still utterly heart-wrenching. Even though Lin Su was seething with anger, he still couldn't bring himself to say anything harsh. He's my sworn rival, my defeated opponent, and you're marrying him. Lin Su found it bitterly ironic. Not only had he lost that match, but now the woman he loved had been taken from him by that very man. He sank into a deep gloom. After that day, Bai Ruan left, and her wedding day was fast approaching. Lin Su has been in low spirits lately, and his parents have reached out to me many times. They wanted me to come check on him. I turned them down each time. My heart condition makes it difficult for me to return to the dance troupe, so I found a clerical job nearby instead. These days, I'm living a regular 9-to-5 life, and my routine has become much more structured. My parents are urging me to move back to my hometown. They're developing the Old Town district there, so there will be more tourists in the future. They're worried about me staying here, but I haven't finished settling my scores yet. How could I possibly leave at a time like this? I thought Lin Su and I would part on good terms, but the memories of our past life are still so vivid. Even now, I have nightmares whenever I close my eyes. I keep reliving that day. It's a private hell that belongs to me alone. I'm going to end this with my own two hands. On the day Bai Ruan got married, Lin Su hobbled his way there. Everyone who attended was from the same circle. After all, that person was an acquaintance of Lin Su's as well. Well, look who it is, the cripple. In the end, Lin Su didn't stand up. He entered in his wheelchair. The man hurled plenty of taunts. Lin Su clenched his fists tightly, determined not to embarrass Bai Ruan. Today, Bai Ruan was the bride. He had to save some face for her. In the past, he would have thrown a punch already. How does a loser like you have the nerve to show up here? The man said with a laugh. Oh, wait, are you here to play the hero and save the damsel? The man said the wedding revelry was in full swing inside, with Bai Ruan entertaining a group of groomsmen. Bai Ruan's voice was growing hoarse, while the men laughed with a vile, lecherous glee. Lin Su couldn't bear to watch. But this crowd wouldn't give him the time of day, especially since the groom had married Bai Ruan purely to humiliate him. He had lost to Lin Su too many times before and finally seized this chance. Stop tormenting her. Lin Su finally couldn't hold back. Bai Ruan's makeup was smeared, her hair and clothes were in complete disarray. At that moment, Bai Ruan wished she were dead. She never imagined this man could be so depraved. She just let them grope her, let them humiliate her. Well. If it isn't Brother Su, one of them said, picking up an egg and tossing it to the ground, trying to play the hero for the damsel in distress. Are we? Come on, get down on all fours and bark like a dog for us. Give us a good laugh. Lin Su's face instantly paled. Bai Ruan shook her head, urging him to leave quickly. But how could Lin Su bear to leave Bai Ruan in the wolf's den? He retorted, if I do it, will you let Ruan go? That's right. Casting aside all his dignity, Lin Su got down on his clumsy legs and began to crawl on the ground, imitating a dog's bark. The crowd was thoroughly amused, and they all pulled out their phones to record the scene and post it online. The man deliberately picked up Bai Ruan, flaunting their affection in front of Lin Su. That night, Lin Su couldn't sleep a wink. As Bai Ruan's agonized cries echoed through the night, the next day, she went to find Lin Su, her body covered in wounds. I didn't see Lin Su again until half a month later. While picking up a prescription at the hospital, I spotted him accompanying Bai Ruan to a doctor's appointment. Both of Bai Ruan's eyes were swollen, and she bore numerous injuries on her body. I didn't go over to say hello. Instead, Lin Su called out to me. Meng, what a coincidence, because when Su Hao hung up on me, he had been dismissed from his post. Lin Su also knew what had happened that day. He apologized to me several times, but I ignored him. Meng Jia, stop, Miss Bai, I'm not older than you. Don't call me Meng Jia. It's nauseating. Bai Ruan's eyes were red-rimmed. I moved closer, but she kept dodging away. Did someone hit you, or did you fall? Bai Ruan avoided eye contact. None of her former proud and haughty demeanor remained. She even kept trying to hide behind Lin Su. Lin Su sighed. He said Bai Ruan had been through too much lately. The woman beside him grabbed his arm tightly, stopping him from saying any more. I didn't press for details. How have you been lately? A touch of sorrow colored Lin Su's eyes. I'm sorry for what happened before. I'm doing just fine. I wish you both happiness. I pretended not to know about Bai Ruan marrying that man and wished them a long and happy life together. Bai Ruan's face looked as if she'd just swallowed a fly. Lin Su hurriedly explained to me, we didn't get married. Ruan married someone else. I was laughing inside, but my face was full of regret. What a shame. I won't keep you. I need to go pick up my medicine. After getting my medicine and leaving, I found Lin Su still waiting for me over there. He said he hasn't been training lately, and this unexpected injury has given him a lot to think about. He realized the person truly worth spending his life with is actually me, Meng. Would you be willing to remarry me? Lin Su said he looked into me secretly and found I haven't started seeing anyone new. He said he knows I still haven't gotten over him. You're reading too much into it, I said with a cold smile. I'm just emotionally exhausted and need a break, not pining for you. I gave a brief explanation, not wanting to deal with Lin Su. Bai Ruan had already dumped him, and now he's trying to crawl back. Nothing in this world comes that easy. What's more, his health had improved somewhat, and a good deal of his confidence had returned. Right at that moment, I leaked the news about Lin Su fighting in underground matches. The public outcry exploded instantly, given all he had done for the sake of Bai Ruan's deceased mother's keepsake. While I was still in my marriage, I wanted the whole world to know about this so-called epic romance of theirs. The story kept trending, though initially, no one online knew their real identities. Eventually, someone couldn't resist digging deeper. At first, people envied that childhood sweetheart bond, a love so deep he'd risk his life for her. But the moment it was uncovered that she was the other woman during a marriage, the sweetness of that story turned sour for everyone. Soon, many people began to feel sorry for me, saying I was the most pitiful one in this whole relationship. Lin Su had still been in touch with the club, and could have returned once he recovered, but not anymore. The club fired him on the spot, casting a dark shadow over Lin Su's future career. Lin Su's mother called me several times, saying Xiu was refusing to eat or drink and begging me to go see him. I turned them all down. I've been swamped with business trips lately and just don't have the energy to deal with any of that. Auntie, we're all adults. When he chose to risk his life for Bai Ruan, he should have thought it through. I warned him about all the possible consequences before he left, that he could die out there. All things considered, this outcome is actually a fortunate one. Sigh. Mrs. Lin said she still thinks I'm the one who's steady and homely, the kind you can build a life with. Someone like Bai Ruan is too wild at heart, too reckless, just like her mother. Lin's mother also said that if Bai Ruan really wanted to marry Lin Su, they would have gotten married long ago. Why would they have waited until now? But none of that has anything to do with me. She asked me through tears if I really couldn't be her daughter-in-law anymore. What's past is past. We need to look forward. The most immediate consequence of the public outcry was that Bai Ruan was beaten even more brutally by that man. She came running to Lin Su to sob out her grievances with increasing frequency. Get a divorce, Ruan. It's not worth putting yourself through this for a mere object. Lin Su would now try to comfort Bai Ruan. Knowing it was just an inanimate thing, the person was already gone. Had the things they left behind become an obsession, is it really worth it, even if it costs you your life? Bai Ruan kept crying, saying she had relied on her mother since childhood, and that object felt like having her mother by her side. But if this goes on, he'll beat you to death. Your mother in heaven wouldn't want to see you like this. Lin Su was extremely agitated, hoping Bai Ruan would think clearly. Showing up covered in wounds again and again, how is that any way to live? Bai Ruan sobbed her heart out in Lin Su's arms. They clung to each other tightly, like a pair of star-crossed lovers. If I get a divorce, would you still want me? Bai Ruan's voice trembled, but at that moment, Lin Su hesitated. His deep affection and true love could not withstand the trials they had recently endured. He said, Ruan, we're just good friends. I'm already in love with someone else. Ha, Wang Meng. Is it? Bai Ruan's eyes were red, but you clearly said you were going to marry me before. Lin Su said he just hadn't figured out his own feelings. I've lived with Meng Meng for so many years, the feelings were already there. I just didn't realize it myself. But she won't forgive me now. For her, I'm willing to remain chaste for the rest of my life. Bai Ruan pouted, saying she was genuinely envious of Sister Meng, envious of me. To be misunderstood by the man you love, ignored by him, and beaten to death by his fists like a punching bag. If you're that envious, you can have it. Okay. A photo of the two of them embracing and crying was taken and posted online. When Bai Ruan's husband saw it, he was furious. He had only married Bai Ruan in the first place to provoke Lin Su. Now that his goal was achieved, he showed Bai Ruan no mercy. You slut, you dare cheat on me. You've got some nerve. I'll beat you to death. The man struck with brutal force. After just a few blows, Bai Ruan collapsed on the floor. Lin Su, who had just escorted her home, heard the commotion from inside. Limping, he pushed the door open, grabbed a knife from the kitchen, and headed that way. Are you trying to kill her, you monster? Lin Su, what the hell is a cripple like you doing in my house? Before the man could react, Lin Su plunged the knife into him, but the man was strong, and in the ensuing struggle, they both stabbed each other several times. The scene was a river of blood, utterly horrifying. The two of them fell to the ground in unison. When Bai Ruan came to, she was terrified to see two people lying in a pool of blood. With trembling hands, she called the police. That night, both Lin Su and that man died. Bai Ruan was driven to madness by the terror. Descending into a state of utter insanity, she would laugh one moment, saying her mother had come to take her home, and then weep the next, crying out for Asu. Lin's mother wept until she fainted. She said she'd always known Bai Ruan was a jinx, a cursed loner destined to bring misfortune, and sure enough, she had brought death upon her precious son. The incident caused a huge uproar. It was already a hot topic before, and now the discussion surrounding this murder case has reached a fever pitch. I was at home, calmly eating my late-night snack while watching the news coverage. The words were utterly horrifying. I finally got my revenge, even if it wasn't a direct method. I knew they'd end up at each other's throats eventually, but I never imagined it would be so brutally straightforward. I wanted Lin Su to live the rest of his life in agony, but now that they've settled their score with each other, I suppose it's a kind of release for them both. I went to see Bai Ruan once. She was huddled in a corner, head in her hands, crying. Hard to tell if it's genuine or just an act. When Bai Ruan saw me, her reaction was intense. She screamed, "It's not my fault. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. With two men fighting over you, you should be feeling pretty smug." Bai Ruan, Wang Meng, you're just here to gloat, aren't you? Ha. I scoffed coldly. Of course not. Your husband has always been Lin Su's punching bag, so why was Lin Su already at a disadvantage even before the fight began this time? You know the reason better than anyone. I turned away and ran through the whole thing in my head. Lin Su is a disciplined guy, and he's genuinely skilled. There's no way he could have been beaten down and immobilized just minutes into the match. Someone must have tampered with things beforehand. You were in cahoots with your husband from the very beginning, tricking Lin Su. It's a shame that fool died without ever knowing he was betrayed by his childhood sweetheart like this. I didn't do it. No, I didn't. Bai Ruan was the first to play dumb. She had a deal with that man. But she never expected him to be so ruthless. He almost killed Lin Su. Looking back at every step of this, I have to say, I'm genuinely impressed by how cold-hearted that woman by Ruan is, but she's already committed to this act. And she'll have to spend the rest of her life here, otherwise, with this evidence, she'd be spending her remaining years behind bars. She's a smart woman, she'll make the right choice. I was invited by Lin Su's mother to attend his funeral, but I declined. I've made a clean break with the past and am ready to head back to my hometown. I've submitted my resignation at work, bought my ticket, and I'm determined to live the rest of my life well. The end. Story 2. In the neon-lit corridor of the club. Lila Shen walked cheerfully with her bag, humming a soft tune as her high heels clicked rhythmically against the obsidian-like floor. With her chest held high, her heart brimmed with anticipation for a bright future. There was just 1 month left until her wedding with Griff Gu, and today she had been promoted to the company's chief jewelry designer. Though her background was far from matching Griff Gu's prestigious family, at least she was steadily closing the gap, step by step. Griff Gu was exceptional, and she, Lila Shen, was no less remarkable. She refused to be the Cinderella others whispered about, someone who soared to success by clinging to a man. What she wanted was a love where she and Griff Gu stood as equals, fighting side by side. Thinking of Griff Gu, a faint, almost imperceptible smile appeared on Lila Shen's face. She had originally planned to call Griff Gu immediately after receiving the promotion email to share the news. But then she thought it would feel more meaningful to share the news while looking into Griff Gu's eyes in person. She knew Griff Gu was having a gathering with friends at Neon today, so she came without giving any prior notice. She wanted to surprise Griff Gu. When Lila Shen arrived, the door of the private room was slightly ajar. Just as she was about to push it open and enter, she overheard Griff Gu's friend Xiaozhe teasing him. "You're about to get married. Yet you still haven't broken things off with Esme. Aren't you afraid Cinderella will dump you if she finds out?" Lila Shen's breath hitched as she pondered the meaning behind Xiaozhe's words, only to hear Griff Gu murmur pensively, "I'm having second thoughts now, considering whether I should marry Lila Shen or not." Griff Gu's friends jeered. After proposing 99 times over 10 years, Cinderella finally said yes. "And now you're putting on airs," setting down his wine glass. Griff Gu straightened his expression and said, "It's precisely because she agreed that I find it rather dull. I used to think Lila Shen was special, as pure and cold as a snow lotus from the Tianshan Mountains, as noble as a goddess from the celestial realm, but now, I feel she's no different from other women, always thinking about promotions and making money, utterly vulgar. Esme is still the sweet one, innocent and adorable. Her biggest advantage over Lila Shen is how much she relies on me, making me feel needed. Lila Shen is just too domineering." Lila Shen's hand on the doorknob trembled slightly. She hadn't failed to notice the changes in Griff Gu since she accepted his proposal. She had thought it was because she had been too preoccupied with her recent promotion and had neglected him, that he was deliberately cold to her out of resentment. So this was the truth. Griff Gu's friends seemed to have discovered a new world, especially since most of them had witnessed his 10-year relationship with Lila Shen. Over the past decade, Griff Gu had always been the proactive one. He had already taken 99 steps, with only the final one left. How could he possibly regret it now? Someone asked. "The wedding is in just a month, isn't it too late for regrets now?" A girl nestled into Griff Gu's arms and giggled. "How about I crash the wedding on your big day?" Griff Gu smirked and kissed Esme Lin, saying, "Sure, if you dare to come, I'll leave with you." Perfect timing. I'd love to see if Lila Shen's ever calm face can stay unshaken. Lila Shen didn't have the courage to listen to the rest. She fled like a clown, her heart feeling as if it were being twisted by a pair of venomous hands. The pain so intense she could barely breathe. The same obsidian-like marble floor now reflected nothing but icy despair in her eyes. Stumbling back to the home she shared with Griff Gu, Lila Shen took in every detail, from the major renovations to the smallest decor, all of which they had painstakingly chosen together. Once, every piece of this place had been proof of their love, evidence of Griff Gu's devotion. She had believed he shared her excitement for their future, just as she did, but now, Lila Shen only found it laughable. 10 years. They had loved each other for 10 years, only to be met with his final words, "It's quite meaningless." Lila Shen suddenly felt dizzy, her vision blurring. Only then did she realize she had been crying, her face cold, the chill seeping straight into her heart. It really was quite meaningless. She worked tirelessly like a spinning top, never daring to pause, all to narrow the gap between them and stand at his level. She even gave up her dreams for him. How foolish I was. Lila Shen mocked herself. 10 years ago, when her grandmother passed away, she realized that the only person she could truly rely on in this world was herself. So how could she have forgotten that after meeting Griff Gu, Lila Shin took out her phone and dialed a number. Hello, senior. Does Professor Brown still have any openings? Yes, yes, yes. Have you changed your mind? On the other end of the phone, Tobias Wren nodded excitedly in agreement. 3 years ago. Professor Brown happened to see Lila Shin's design sketches at his place and was utterly thrilled. He said, Shin is a girl brimming with creativity. A girl with such talent deserves better guidance. Wren, introduce her to me. I'm confident I can help her become a world-class master of art. Professor Brown was a renowned teacher at the Paris Royal Academy of Arts, and those who wished to study under him were as numerous as fish in the river, yet only a handful of students could earn his favor. When Lila Shin first heard the news, she was also very tempted. Such an opportunity was truly rare, but thinking of the clingy Griff Gu, she hesitated. It takes 5 years to graduate from Professor Brown. Unable to bear Griff Gu's lovesickness, she declined. Lila Shin smiled bitterly. No wonder people always say pitying men brings misfortune. She deserved this. Fortunately, Professor Brown valued talent and had Tobias Wren relay that the offer would remain valid for 5 years. Lila Shin responded. I've made up my mind. Please ask Professor Brown when I can go. Senior brother. Tobias Wren was overjoyed. Professor Brown said you can come anytime within 5 years. We're starting a new project in 2 months. It would be perfect if you could make it by then. 2 months. Won't take that long. How about a month from now? I'll come then. Sorry for the trouble. Senior, not at all. It's my honor. The two exchanged a few more pleasantries before Lila Shin excused herself, claiming she had to work overtime, and hung up the phone. She buried herself in the couch, like a wounded bird. How about I crash your wedding and steal you away? Sure, if you dare to come, I'll leave with you. These words kept circling in her mind. Stealing a bride, is it? Fine, I'll let you have your way. At 3 in the morning, Griff Gu was brought back dead drunk, reeking of alcohol. His sharply defined profile bore a crimson lipstick mark. Lila Shin pretended not to see anything as she dumped Griff Gu onto the bed. Only the stiffened part of her body that had touched him knew just how much she detested him now. Lila Shin shifted her body slightly outward, forcing herself to fall asleep quickly, but she couldn't. The mere thought of the man beside her, already rotten to the core, made her sick to her stomach. Why? She truly didn't understand. If he no longer loved her, why not just tell her? She wasn't the kind of woman who would cling desperately. Why did he have to disgust her like this? Unable to make sense of it, she decided not to dwell on it any longer. A month was enough time to bring closure to their 10 years together. The next day at noon, Griff Gu woke up. The soft sheets beside him had long lost the warmth that belonged to Lila Shin, leaving him with a vague sense of loss. This woman. During school, all she knew was studying, and after graduation, she threw herself entirely into her career. When would she ever put him, her boyfriend and future husband, first? How infuriating. But the thought that they would be married in just 1 more month sent ripples of happiness through his heart. He truly felt that this decade-long relationship had become somewhat dull, and he was somewhat resentful of Lila Shin's cold indifference over all these years. This woman always kept her emotions hidden, making it impossible to tell what was going on in her mind. She never relied on him, refused to accept his help, wouldn't spend his money, and pushed away any assistance he offered as if it were 1,000 miles away. Under the guise of not wanting to be a clinging vine dependent on him, she simply didn't understand him. What man wouldn't want his woman to lean on him? But angry as he was, deep down he had never truly considered not marrying her. Yesterday's words were just nonsense blurted out in the heat of the moment. Esme Lin did give him the pleasurable sense of being relied upon, the heroism of being depended on. But having fun occasionally was one thing. Marriage was out of the question. Apart from Lila Shin, he had never imagined marrying anyone else in his life. At this thought, he realized he had been somewhat excessive lately. I'll go have lunch with her at noon, Griff Gu planned. He got up to use the bathroom and froze when he saw his reflection in the mirror. Flustered, he quickly wiped the lipstick marks off his face with his hands. Did you see it, Lila Shin? In love, she couldn't tolerate the slightest flaw. Remember back in school, he just got a bit too close to a junior girl, and she immediately broke up with him. It took him half a year of coaxing, and in the end, he had to resort to a desperate act of self-sacrifice, nearly killing himself, just to earn her forgiveness. He didn't dare imagine what kind of storm would erupt if Lila Shin saw this lipstick mark. Griff Gu took out his phone and carefully dialed Lila Shin's number. Fortunately, there was nothing unusual in Lila Shin's tone. Perhaps it was too dark at the time, and she didn't notice. Griff Gu thought with relief. It seems he would have to be more careful in the future. Lila, I miss you. How about having lunch together at noon? I want to see you. Griff Goo's voice was tender and lingering, carrying a hint of affectionate allure. Lila Shin suppressed her disgust and forced a smile that didn't reach her eyes. All right, see you at noon, Griff Goo. Our farewell begins today. Inside the Western restaurant, the lingering melody of a violin hung in the air. Lila Shin sat across from Griff Goo. One was full of affection, the other as calm as still water. Griff Goo gazed at Lila Shin. His eyes so tender they seemed capable of drowning one in emotion. Lila Shin looked back at him, feeling a fleeting illusion that their relationship had always been this way, stirring a sigh of melancholy in her heart. Griff Goo, aren't you tired of pretending? She then lowered her head, focusing intently on her meal, quietly observing Griff Goo's performance. As the meal was coming to an end, Griff Goo's phone rang. He glanced up at Lila Shin with an unnatural look in his eyes. Pretending not to notice anything, Lila Shin wiped her mouth and asked him, do you have plans this afternoon? Let's go out for a walk together. Griff Goo was surprised by Lila Shin's invitation. He knew this was a crucial period for her promotion, and the fact that she had agreed to have dinner with him was already a miracle. Just as he was about to accept, his phone buzzed again. What caught his eye was a rather unusual photo of Esme Lin, dressed in a bunny outfit, her gaze hazy. A mix of innocence and allure. Another day. Okay, the company has an important meeting today. He refused without batting an eye, unaware that the mirror behind him had already revealed the truth to Lila Shin as he looked down at his phone. Alright, work comes first. Lila Shin wore a smile on her face, but beneath the table, her hands were clenched so tightly they ached. Griff Goo, you're really disgusting. After Griff Goo left, Lila Shin also drove out. The car headed east and eventually parked in the university's parking lot. Lila Shin got out of the car and strolled alone through the cherry blossom grove. It is now late autumn, and the leaves of the cherry blossom trees flutter and scatter, presenting a charm quite different from the season when the petals fall, though it adds a touch of desolation. She tightened her woolen coat, and her thoughts unwittingly drifted back to 10 years ago. Griff Goo's pursuit was rather cliched. With a cheeky grin, he said to her, classmate, you look just like my girlfriend, will you marry me and be my wife? The classmates present all egged him on, but Lila Shin thought he was out of his mind. At that time, she had just finished her grandmother's funeral and experienced the seizure of her house by uncles, completely becoming a homeless orphan. In this world, the only person she could rely on was herself. She was busy earning tuition, busy making a living, busy trying to build a home for herself. For some people, merely surviving consumes all their energy. How could they possibly spare a thought for anything else? She mercilessly rejected Griff Goo, so tacky and boring. If you want to play, go ahead, but don't bother me. She thought her rejection was so unequivocal that he would back off. Little did she know, it only fueled Griff Goo's competitive spirit, making him pursue her even more fiercely. He chased her for 2 years. And she rejected him for 2 years, until one day, while working part-time, she was harassed by a sleazy man, and when she refused, she was slapped in the face. Not far away, Griff Goo witnessed the scene like a madman, nearly beating the man to death. Gritting his teeth, he cursed, I'd want to hold my girl in my mouth, and you dare to slap her. He threw punches at the man's face recklessly, taking quite a few hits himself. By the time the police arrived, both he and the man had swollen faces like pigs. After leaving the police station, Griff Goo's eyes were so swollen they were reduced to mere slits. Lila Shin looked at his comical appearance and burst into tears. Are you stupid? You could have just called the police. Why did you have to fight him? Seeing her cry, Griff Goo suddenly panicked, clumsily reaching out with both hands to wipe the tears from her face. Don't cry, I'm not in pain. Lila Shin looked at Griff Goo's pig-like face and cried even harder. The grievances she had suppressed over the years all poured out in that moment. When she finally cried herself out, she whispered to Griff Goo, do you want to give us a try? What? Griff Goo felt the world at that moment was unrealistically beautiful. If you don't want to, forget it. Before Lila Shin could finish, Griff Goo covered her mouth. Willing. He gazed into her eyes and vowed earnestly, Lila Shin, don't worry, choosing me won't let you down. In this lifetime, I'll love you with all my life. As her thoughts returned to the present, Lila Shin pursed her lips and forcibly held back her tears. 10 years. He had persisted for 10 years. How could things have changed? In the past, this road always felt so long. Now, walking it again, reaching the end took barely over 10 minutes. At the end of the cherry blossom grove lies an artificial lake, with a few ducks floating on its surface. On the shore, 4 or 5 couples sit, they laugh and play, they are tender and affectionate. During her school days, she was very busy, spending only a handful of time with Griff Goo. More importantly, she was unwilling to get involved in his social circle. His circle was either wealthy or noble, spending money like water. The cost of one of their meals was enough to cover her tuition and living expenses for an entire semester. So later, she refused to attend any gatherings of his circle. The small lakeside became their dating spot, nor did she want to become an obstacle between him and his friends. An eagle should return to the sky, a tiger belongs to the wilderness, and Griff-Gu should stay with his friends. Lila Shen didn't want Griff-Gu to become an outsider in his own circle because of her, and her. It didn't matter. One day, she would have the ability to sit in the club with them, singing a song and drinking a glass of wine with peace of mind, through her own efforts. She was almost there, but he had changed. Lila Shen sat by the lake, the cold wind howling against her face, watching the ripples stirred by the wind on the lake. Her heart ached as if pricked by needles. The sun gradually slanted westward, always departing more decisively in late autumn. The young couples by the lakeside, feeling the chill, left in twos and threes. After the sky darkened completely, the streetlights cast circles of light on the ground. Lila Shen stared blankly at the lake, her mind utterly empty, until the dormitory lights-out bell rang. She slowly got up. When she used to date Griff-Gu, the moment the bell rang, she would immediately stand up and rush back to the dorm, afraid of being locked out by the dorm supervisor. Griff-Gu's friends always joked that the dorm's lights-out bell was like the clock striking before Cinderella's transformation. So, they gave her a nickname, Cinderella. Lila Shen smiled bitterly. They were truly far-sighted. The clock struck, and Cinderella returned to her true self. But it didn't matter. Cinderella didn't need a prince to become a princess. After it was over, Griff-Gu lit a cigarette. Esme Lin, let's end this. He took out a card. There's 5 million here. And this apartment is yours too. Why? Esme Lin was stunned, tears welling up in her eyes, her fragile gaze filled with brokenness. Don't you want me anymore? Tell me where I fell short. I can change everything. Griff, I beg you, don't leave me. Esme Lin's words were so humble that they tugged at Griff-Gu's heart, filling him with pain. But when he thought of Lila Shen, he hesitated again. Ever since he discovered the lipstick mark on his face in the morning, he had been feeling uneasy. At lunch, seeing Lila Shen's expression as normal as ever, he breathed a sigh of relief. But he wasn't ignorant of the saying that one who often walks by the river will inevitably get their shoes wet. If he didn't want the truth to come out, it would be best to break things off with Esme Lin as soon as possible. He took out another card and handed it to Esme Lin. Be good, here's another 5 million for you. Don't make a scene, you know I've never had much patience. Esme Lin bit her lip in silence, unwilling to accept it. Yesterday, you told me to crash the wedding and said you'd leave with me. Why are you pushing me away today? Griff, I want to know what happened. TCH, a light scoff escaped Griff-Gu's nostrils. He pinched Esme Lin's cheek and said, silly girl, you're so naive it's heartbreaking. A man's drunken words in a place like this, just take them as empty talk. They're not meant to be taken seriously. I've sunk too much into Lila Shen. Walking away now would be a waste. Griff-Gu's stubborn macho posturing, in Esme Lin's view, stemmed from his habit of being with Lila Shen rather than genuine affection, yet habits can easily be changed and reformed. In her heart, she felt a mix of envy and even resentment toward Lila Shen. Compared to her, Lila Shen had simply met Griff-Gu earlier. Had she been born a few years sooner, what role would Lila Shen have had to play? She is young, she is beautiful, she has personality, and she is even more confident. Griff-Gu is destined to be hers alone. But she also knows Griff-Gu's stubborn temper. What he says goes, and once he makes a decision, it's not easily changed. So she decides to start with Lila Shen. From Griff-Gu's friends, she has learned a bit about Lila Shen's temperament: stubborn, rigid, and unable to tolerate any flaws. After thinking it through, she decided to yield first. Fine, I agree to end it, but give me some time. Okay, Griff, I promise you, once you marry her, I'll never appear in your life again. After all, I don't want to be the kind of woman who ruins someone else's marriage. It's just that what you said was really too sudden. My heart aches so much. Can't you be a little less cruel to me? Griff-Gu sighed and stubbed out his cigarette in the ashtray. He knew he was being cruel. In a love triangle, at least one person is bound to get hurt. He couldn't bear to let Lila Shen suffer even the slightest harm, nor did he dare to. So, the one who had to get hurt could only be Esme Lin. Okay. One last month, Esme Lin wiped away her tears with a smile, coquettishly snuggling into Griff-Gu's arms, stirring up another storm of passion. When Griff-Gu wasn't paying attention, Esme Lin quietly turned on her phone's camera. A few days later, Lila Shen received a call from the bridal shop. Miss Shen, your custom wedding dress has been altered. Please come try it on when you're free. Alright, Lila Shen hung up the phone and, without realizing it, slipped back into her memories. This wedding dress had been ordered even before she agreed to Griff Gu's proposal. It was the final masterpiece by the renowned wedding dress designer, Louis. This wasn't something money alone could buy. Back then, Griff Gu had pestered Louis relentlessly for half a year just to obtain this dress. She still remembered the relief in Louis's deep blue eyes when they met to confirm the design plan. Shen, it's my honor that my final work can serve you two lovers, Mr. Griff loves you very much. I wish you happiness. Happiness, Lila Shen smiled bitterly. Perhaps so, but that was only in the past. Over the past 2 years, in order to stand shoulder to shoulder with Griff Gu as soon as possible, she had been exhausting herself like a tireless machine. Originally weighing just over 90 pounds, she now barely tipped the scales at 80. Naturally, the previously chosen size no longer fit. She felt embarrassed to trouble Louis. So she entrusted the wedding dress to the largest bridal shop in S City to have it resized. After lunch, Lila Shen drove to the bridal shop. The sales assistant who greeted her seemed hesitant to speak. Miss Shen, you're here. Please wait a moment. Lila Shen frowned. Just tell me what happened directly. I'll be fine. The sales assistant didn't speak, only leading Lila Shen behind a glass door. The glass door had a faint purple coating, allowing Lila Shen to see the scene in the bridal fitting room, while those inside couldn't see the view behind the glass door. Esme Lin was wearing the exclusive wedding dress that originally belonged to Lila Shen, standing proudly like a pure white swan. A smile graced her face, like a peach blossom in full bloom on a spring day. Griff, do I look pretty? Griff Gu stood with one hand in his pocket, exuding an air of noble elegance and lazy charm. Pretty, very pretty. Esme Lin pouted and said in a playful huff, can you stop being so perfunctory? Can't you just properly compliment me? Griff Gu smiled. What he loved most about Esme Lin was how childlike she was, innocent, adorable, and full of fun. With less than a month left, he might as well indulge her a little, with beauty that shames the moon and puts flowers to blush, outshining Shishir and surpassing Diao Chan. How about that? And compared to her, Griff Gu suddenly fell silent. Knowing exactly who Esme Lin was referring to, behind the glass door, Lila Shen's eyes were slightly red. She forced a faint smile and said to the sales assistant, just have the wedding dress delivered to my home. I won't try it on. It's fine as it is. The salesgirl rubbed her fingers, looking terrified. She didn't know if what she did was right or wrong. Yesterday, Esme Lin approached her, gave her 20,000 yuan, and asked her to guide Lila Shen to witness this scene with her own eyes. At first, she hesitated, but then she thought, perhaps it wasn't a bad thing for Lila Shen to discover these truths earlier, but in the end, her intentions weren't pure. Miss Shen, I'm sorry. The salesgirl lowered her head, too ashamed to meet Lila Shen's eyes. Lila Shen patted her shoulder and shook her head, saying, don't say that, I should be thanking you. But, Lila Shen interrupted her. No matter the reason, I thank you for letting me see this scene, because only this way can my heart die a little more. She didn't voice the rest of her thoughts, turning around and leaving the bridal shop without looking back. Take it off. Men change their expressions faster than flipping a book. Just a second ago, Griff Gu was praising Esme Lin, and the next moment, his face darkened as if it could drip ink. He felt somewhat annoyed, wondering why he had agreed to Esme Lin's damn foolish request. Agreeing to Esme Lin's demand to end their illicit relationship only after his marriage was foolish enough, and now, as if possessed, he had even agreed to bring her to try on the wedding dress meant solely for Lila Shen. He dared not imagine what consequences would arise if Lila Shen were to find out about all this. No, it wouldn't happen. He would never let Lila Shen know about any of this. Take it off, now, fine. Esme Lin bit her lip, hiding her resentment deep in her eyes. The corners of her lips curled upward, exuding smugness tinged with a hint of mockery toward Griff Gu. Only now realizing the panic, isn't it a bit late? Just minutes earlier, she had received a text message from the sales associate. Miss Shen saw it and left with a very unpleasant expression. Esme Lin chuckled lightly, realizing it wouldn't be long before she received the joyous news of Griff Gu being dumped. When the time came, she would feign vulnerability and then say things that appeared to mediate but actually made Griff Gu detest Lila Shen. She was confident that Griff Gu, whose pride had been ruthlessly wounded, would come to understand who the right person truly was. She had been waiting for this day ever since she agreed to become Griff Gu's lover. She went to great lengths to hook up with a playboy heir like Griff Gu, not to become a disposable lover who gets played and discarded. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. During these days, Lila Shen endured the disgust and played along with Griff Gu in one act after another. from taking wedding photos to selecting wedding favors and handwriting invitations. She personally handled everything alongside Griff Gu. She radiated happiness every day, just like an ordinary woman about to be married, facing Esme Lin's repeated provocations. She endured them with the utmost patience, until Esme Lin, in a fit of rage, barged into her office. With a smirk, she haughtily slammed a piece of paper onto Lila Shen's desk with a loud smack. On the black and white ultrasound image, a bean-sized life suddenly leaped onto the paper. The legendary Ms. Shen, who supposedly can't tolerate a speck of dust in her eye, seems to be just like everyone else. I thought you'd cancel the wedding after leaving the bridal shop. Lila Shen glanced at her indifferently and lowered her head to continue reviewing the documents in her hand. There were still half a month left. She needed to quickly and flawlessly hand over all her current work. Only then would she feel she had lived up to the company's years of nurturing her. Esme Lin was infuriated by Lila Shen's indifferent attitude. What are you pretending for? See this ultrasound report. I'm pregnant with Griff Gu's child. I have Griff Gu's baby in my belly. Lila Shen looked up and sneered. So what? Shouldn't you go to him if you're pregnant with his child? Why come to me? Or are you planning to give birth and hand the baby over for me to raise? She pretended to ponder for a moment, then nodded. Painless motherhood. Sounds pretty good. Thanks for that. You. Esme Lin was left speechless with anger. It seemed she had underestimated Lila Shen. Griff and I have been together for a year. Every time he told you he was on a business trip or working overtime, he was with me, lost in passion. He said he's long been tired of you, and the only reason he married you was because the sunk cost was too high to let go. He even told me that if I showed up to object on your wedding day, he would leave with me. Lila Shen, save yourself some dignity. Why cling to a man who doesn't love you? Or do you insist on waiting until the wedding day? When I show up with an ultrasound report to crash the ceremony and humiliate you in front of all your family and friends, oh, I forgot, everyone in your family except you is dead, a bunch of short-lived ghosts, who knows what kind of evil deeds they committed in their past lives. Slap. Lila Shen stood up and slapped Esme Lin across the face. Her deceased family members were her Achilles heel. Before Esme Lin could regain her composure, Lila Shen grabbed her by the throat again. With a cold laugh, she said, if it's really as you say, why don't you just have Griff Gu call off the wedding? What's the point of barking at me here? Let me guess, he must have told you to get lost, and you couldn't accept it, so you came here to make a scene. I hope I can take the initiative to dump Griff Gu, so you can take his place. But shouldn't you have the right attitude when asking for a favor? Does Griff Gu know you're here? Should I call him and let him tell you personally? Esme Lin's face instantly turned deathly pale. There was no way she could let Griff Gu know she had come to see Lila Shen. With his temper, he might even kill her. Don't. Esme Lin's knees gave way, and she slowly knelt on the ground. Sister Lila, please leave Griff, my unborn child, and I can't live without him. Lila Shen, let go. Get out. And I don't have a sister, so don't try to claim a relationship. Esme Lin grabbed Lila Shen's pant leg and pleaded humbly, Miss Shen, please don't tell Griff about today. With his temper, he'd surely kill me if he found out. Fine, you can get lost now. After Esme Lin left, Lila Shen leaned back in her chair, her hands and feet icy cold. 10 years of emotions had now become so unbearably fragile. Her disgust for Griff Gu deepened even further. After completing the final handover of work, she asked the HR department to keep it confidential for the time being. HR laughed and said, going home to be a wealthy lady is a good thing. Why keep it a secret? You've been working too hard these years. It's time for you to take a good rest. Lila Shen smiled bitterly and reminded HR again, Sister Lu, I hope you can keep my resignation a secret for now, especially from Griff Gu. Auntie Lu beamed with a knowing smile. I get it, a wedding gift, right. Most people in the company knew that Griff Gu had always been reluctant to see Lila Shen so busy and had repeatedly tried to persuade her to quit. But she refused each time. This was why Auntie Lu mistakenly thought that Lila Shen's resignation was meant to be a surprise for Griff Gu. This worked out well, saving her the trouble of having to explain further. After resigning, Lila Shen moved out of the home she shared with Griff Gu, citing the inauspiciousness of unmarried couples living together. With just a few days left until the wedding, Griff Gu agreed without a second thought. Lila Shen breathed a sigh of relief and began meticulously erasing every trace of herself. Griff Gu was too caught up in his final revelries to notice that everything carrying Lila Shen's presence was being cleared away. There were 3 days left until the wedding. When it was Lila Shen's birthday, Griff Gu threw a grand party for her at the hotel. All the attendees were Griff Gu's circle of friends, except for Esme Lin. This time, Lila Shen didn't refuse. Lila Shen wore a pristine white pleated skirt paired with a sky blue denim vest, a stark contrast to her usual professional suits and loungewear. Griff Gu was momentarily mesmerized. It was as if he was seeing the Lila Shen from their university days, pure, adorable, delicate, and as docile as a little rabbit. Lila Shen also saw the nostalgia for the bygone days in Griff Gu's eyes. Yes, this is exactly how it should be. She wanted him to remember how he once loved her, how he once cherished her. Only then, when the bubble of truth is burst, would he feel wrong, feel the pain. The cheerful birthday song played as the candles were lit one by one. As the song ended, the lights went out, leaving only the flickering glow of the candles. Everyone held their breath, watching quietly as Lila Shen made her wish. She closed her eyes and silently wished, first, for a fulfilling career, second, for good health, and third, to never cross paths with Griff Gu again in this lifetime. Opening her eyes, she took a deep breath and blew out all the candles in one go. Griff Gu's buddies teased, "What wish did the missus make? Don't even ask. It's definitely about our Griff, to grow old together, 2 kids in 3 years. Griff Gu looked at Lila Shen with a smile, his voice tender. "Lila, what did you wish for? Was it about me?" Lila Shen tilted her head playfully and replied, "Of course it was about you. I'll tell you what I wished for later." Griff Gu's buddies erupted in teasing cheers again. "The sister-in-law is shy, must be wishing for 2 kids in 3 years, haha." Griff Gu's friends were quite fun, drinking, playing finger-guessing games, and smearing cake. This was the only time Lila Shen felt completely at ease with them. It was originally a wonderful memory, until Griff Gu received a phone call, turned extremely pale, and said he had to leave for something urgent. Lila Shen nodded and said to him, "Business comes first." She smiled with an innocent expression. While Griff Gu's friends had mixed reactions, after the event ended, everyone went their separate ways. Lila Shen crouched by the roadside, holding her head and sobbing uncontrollably. On the phone, Esme Lin's taunting message remained, "Heard it's your birthday, bet you he'd ditch you for me with just one call from me." Griff Gu indeed left. At Esme Lin's place, Griff Gu's face was dark with anger. "Haven't you been taking your meds all along? What's going on here?" Esme Lin, with reddened eyes, shook her head. "I don't know what's going on either. Get rid of it." The words came without a second thought. Get rid of it. Tears instantly streamed down Esme Lin's face as she pleaded pitifully, "Griff, this is our child, your own flesh and blood. How can you bear to abandon them?" Griff Gu tugged impatiently at his collar and said heartlessly, "My child, only the one from Lila Shen's womb is my child. Don't you want them to be born as a despised bastard, Griff?" Esme Lin helplessly tugged at Griff Gu's sleeve, but in her heart, she loathed Lila Shen to the core. Griff Gu tossed another card at Esme Lin. "Esme Lin, you're a smart woman, you know what to do. I won't acknowledge this child. From today onward, we're done. Don't show your face in front of me again." Esme Lin panicked. She never expected her plan to backfire so badly. Holding Griff Gu tightly, she pleaded, "I was wrong. I was wrong. Griff, I'll get rid of this child right away. Please don't ignore me." Griff Gu pried Esme Lin's hands away. "There's a lot to do before the wedding. I'll pay 3 million for these 3 days. You're making a killing. Esme Lin, you should learn to be content. Men prefer women who don't cling," said the woman outside. Griff Gu finished speaking and left with a flourish. Esme Lin hysterically smashed everything in the house that could be broken. An outside woman. She refused to be any outside woman. She dialed Lila Shen's number and lashed out, "Lila Shen, I thought you were so noble. Turns out you're just another gold digger who can't let go of Griff Gu's money. Aren't you the type who can't stand the slightest flaw? Griff Gu has been thoroughly slept with by me. Why haven't you left him yet? Do you really enjoy wearing that green hat so much? You'll have plenty of time to cry later." At that moment, Lila Shen had just stood up and wiped away her tears. After composing herself, she calmly said, "Thank you, thank you." Esme Lin was stunned. "Are you out of your mind?" "No, thank you for letting me know in advance that Griff Gu is unreliable. Remember to come and steal the groom on my wedding day. I'll leave him to you." What do you mean?" Esme Lin's mind was momentarily dazed. Why did these words sound so familiar? Stealing the bride. Suddenly, it dawned on her. "You knew about this a month ago." Lila Shen didn't hold back. "Yes, so I wish you success in stealing the groom, but I must warn you, he's not a good match. If I were you, I'd stay far away from him." "So, you're planning to break up with him on the wedding day?" Esme Lin was overwhelmed with excitement, thinking Lila Shen intended to humiliate Griff Gu severely at the wedding. Which man could stand being humiliated in front of all his family and friends? At that time, the understanding her, with the adorable child in her belly. Wouldn't taking down Griff Gu be a piece of cake? You'd better keep your word, Receiving Lila Shin's reply, Esme Lin excitedly hung up the phone. She sighed inwardly, thinking that Lila Shin was indeed as rumored, naively foolish. A man's love is nowhere near as important as his money. In the blink of an eye, the wedding day arrived. The night before, Lila Shin and Griff Gu had spent 3 hours on the phone, reminiscing about their youth and dreaming about the future. On the day of the wedding, however, she boarded a flight to Paris. At the hotel, Griff Gu was brimming with confidence, as if he wanted to write "I'm getting married today" on his face. Griff Gu's mother complained angrily to her friend, "Look at his uselessness. He'll probably be a henpecked husband in the future." At first, Griff Gu's mother didn't think much of Lila Shin. She believed Lila was an orphan with no one to rely on and of no help to Griff Gu, but she couldn't resist her son's affection for her. Not seeing Lila Shin for a single day feels like losing one's soul, so they just let him be. When a family's business reaches their level, there's no longer a need to rely on marriage alliances to enhance the family's power. Moreover, Lila Shin is a driven young woman, just based on her personal qualities alone. She is more than a match for their son. As noon approached, the wedding organizers noticed something was amiss. They found Griff Gu and asked, "Why hasn't the bride arrived yet?" What? Griff Gu's heart skipped a beat. He thought Lila Shin had arrived early and was getting her makeup done in the bridal dressing room. He took out his phone, frantically unlocked it, and dialed Lila Shin's number. The cold female voice prompted, "The number you have dialed is powered off." Called again, it was still. "The number you have dialed is powered off." Tried with another phone, same result. At this moment, a little girl took out a hard drive and handed it to Griff Gu. "This is Miss Shin's wedding gift for you. She insists that you play it on the big screen at the wedding." Griff Gu's hanging heart relaxed for a moment. He thought it was a wedding surprise from Lila Shin. Suddenly, images appeared on the giant LED screen. Shaky footage of a private room in a club. "I'll just crash your wedding on the day you get married. Alright, as long as you dare to come, I'll go with you." Griff Gu was frozen in place. What followed were scenes of him and Esme Lin being affectionate. Esme Lin's face was pixelated, while his was clearly visible to every pair of eyes present. Griff Gu's friend was the first to react, swiftly snatching the hard drive and yanking it from the computer. Esme Lin rushed forward, intending to comfort Griff Gu, but he grabbed her by the throat. "You bitch, how could Lila have that kind of video? What did you tell her?" Esme Lin's face turned red from the choking as she gasped, "Griff, she doesn't want you, but I, and our child, will always be by your side." Child. Griff Gu was like a bloodthirsty demon, frantically pinning Esme Lin down and kicking her stomach with reckless abandon. In an instant, crimson spread everywhere. The scene descended into chaos. Esme Lin was taken away by an ambulance, while Griff Gu was detained by the police. The Gu family's incident made the front page of both the entertainment and financial news in City S that very night. Griff's parents blamed their son for his lack of ambition while also resenting Lila Shin for being too ruthless. Couldn't things have ended on good terms? Why did it have to turn so ugly? Griff Gu's mother began to regret it, thinking she should never have agreed to let Griff Gu and Lila Shin be together in the first place. Girls from modest backgrounds are so short-sighted, making a fuss over trivial matters until everyone knows about it. After landing, Lila Shin turned on her phone, and the flood of messages nearly crashed it. Before she could even glance at the messages, her attention was caught by a news alert. "Scandal erupts on wedding day of Gu family's successor." Lila Shin took a deep breath and clicked on the news headline. What a dismal turn of events. Esme Lin's fate hangs in the balance, while Griff Gu gets a pair of silver bracelets gets arrested. She couldn't articulate what kind of emotion it was, neither joy nor sorrow, only a sense of relief, as if things were evened out. He tainted her feelings. She gave him a bone-deep scandal in return. From now on, we're even. After 2 days of rest, Lila Shin threw herself into intense work. Professor Brown's team's current project is a series of jewelry designs themed around mythology. Lila Shin and Tobias Ren were leading the team responsible for the Eastern mythology theme. This is Lila Shin's first battle after joining the new team, and she takes it very seriously. Every day, she immerses herself in finding materials and sketching drafts. Griff Gu calls her tirelessly every day, unbothered by the disturbance. She simply turns off her phone completely. She didn't have many friends back home anyway. A month later, she was still cornered by Griff Gu at the entrance of her company building. Lila Shin was still dressed in a crisp professional suit, her long hair neatly pinned up at the back with a pearl-colored hair clip. Her makeup was immaculate, and she wore a pair of white high heels with delicate gold trim. Though his face showed exhaustion, his eyes sparkled like stars. When Griff Gu saw her, his eyes instantly reddened. All the anger in his heart melted into overwhelming longing the moment he laid eyes on Lila Shin. Lila, you're truly heartless. He wore a smile on his face, but his voice trembled uncontrollably. Lila Shin remained silent, utterly exhausted, with barely 5 or 6 hours of sleep each day. Her time was precious. In the morning, she had a team meeting and a design inspiration discussion session with Professor Brown. In the afternoon, she needed to refine several design drafts, and in the evening, she had to continue researching. She only thought about how to quickly get rid of Griff Gu and make him stop pestering her. She also smiled, her laughter tinged with perfunctoriness. Griff Gu. We're even, haha. He laughed heartily, but his eyes were terrifyingly red. Lila Shin, do you even have a heart? I've been looking for you for a whole damn month, day and night. I'm practically dying from exhaustion, and you just tell me we're even. Lila Shin glanced impatiently at her wristwatch. Griff Gu, can you stop making a scene? I'm going to be late. This morning's meeting is important. Griff Gu was stung by Lila Shin's indifferent attitude and grabbed her wrist forcefully. The security personnel at the company entrance immediately restrained Griff Gu, while Lila Shin walked away without looking back. Watching Lila Shin's resolute figure, Griff Gu felt a deep sense of despair. Lila Shin thought Griff Gu had some pride. That day, she had already made him feel so humiliated. He should have known to retreat in the face of difficulties. Little did she expect him to resort to his old tricks of relentless pursuit, just like when he chased her in college. Rent a house next to hers, fresh flowers and gourmet food every day. Afraid that Lila Shin might not be used to French cuisine, he even learned to cook. Lila Shin refused many times, but Griff Gu acted as if he couldn't understand human language, grinning foolishly at her every time she said something harsh. Later, Lila Shin followed him as well. Days like these went on for half a year. Griff Gu's parents couldn't sit still any longer. They sought out Lila Shin. Griff Gu's mother seemed to have aged significantly. The once vibrant Mrs. Gu now had an unmistakable weariness in her eyes. She pleaded, Lila Shin, please, let my son go. He's my only child, and he can't keep going on like this. Lila Shin's expression darkened. These wealthy people would never learn to show respect. Whenever something goes wrong, they always shift the blame onto those they deem beneath them. It was the same when she was with Griff Gu. And it remained the same after they parted. She said solemnly, Auntie, I should be the one saying this. Please let Griff Gu leave me alone. I'm extremely busy with work right now. So busy that I don't even have time to sleep. His current behavior is quite troubling for me. Griff Gu's mother was taken aback and grew somewhat irritated. Her son had already humbled himself to this extent. What more did this woman want? Why couldn't she just know when to stop? A minor episode in a relationship, yet she made it known to everyone. Enough is enough. Besides, Griff loves her. Why can't she just be content? For families of their stature, it's perfectly normal to have 1 or 2 women for show. Lila, that's enough. Griff knows he was wrong, and you should let go of your anger. Any more fuss would be going too far. She handed Lila Shin a card. This was originally meant for you at the wedding, but now consider it as compensation for Griff's mistake. Lila Shin suddenly laughed, feeling somewhat speechless. Auntie, what do you mean by this? At this point, you still don't think I'm just putting on airs, do you? Mother Gu remained silent, but her eyes, fixed intently on Lila Shin, confirmed her meaning. Lila Shin pushed the card back toward Mrs. Gu and said sternly, Auntie, Griff Gu and I are over. Over means there's no possibility of reconciliation. Also, money isn't everything. It can't buy genuine feelings, nor can it mend a broken heart. Mrs. Gu had never been rejected like this before, and for a moment, she couldn't care less about maintaining her composure. Her face darkened as she lashed out without thinking. What are you pretending for, Lila Shin? I'm telling you, opportunities like this don't come twice. Be careful not to push your luck too far and regret it later. Lila Shin shook her head. Agreeing to meet today was truly a very foolish decision. In the evening, Lila Shin got off work, and Griff Gu was waiting at her doorstep again. She sighed and said to Griff Gu, come in. Griff Gu froze for a moment, his heart instantly bursting with joy. He had always known that Lila Shin was the most soft-hearted. As long as he never gave up, she would eventually forgive him. Have a seat. Once inside, Griff Gu glanced around. Lila Shin's room was very small, and the entire space could be taken in with a single look, yet it was arranged very cozily, clearly showing careful thought had gone into the decor. Lila Shin poured a glass of water and handed it to him, treating him like a guest. He was about to speak when Lila Shin interrupted him. Griff Gu, do you know what I wished for on my birthday? What? He was both curious and a little afraid. One of them was related to you. I wished Never to see you again in this lifetime. What? The cup in Griff Goo's hand suddenly slipped. The moment the glass hit the ground, it shattered into pieces. He slowly crouched down, trembling as he picked up the shards from the floor. Tears fell to the ground, meeting the water and splashing into tiny droplets. He stood up and, without a word, pulled Lila Shin into his embrace, murmuring, "Lila, I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. Could you just give me one more chance? I promise this will absolutely be the last time." Lila Shin pushed him away, smiling bitterly. "Griff Goo, we've been together for 10 years. You should know what kind of person I am." Griff Goo pleaded humbly. "Lila, just break your principles for me once. Okay, just this once." "Griff Goo, what will it take for you to let me go? Wasn't it enough that you disgusted me back home? Now you have to chase me abroad to keep tormenting me. Can't you stop clinging to me like a dog?" "What did you say?" Griff Goo stared at Lila Shin in disbelief, unable to comprehend that such venomous words could come from her mouth. But Lila Shin had indeed spoken them. "Griff Goo, let me go. Don't be my burden." Ha ha. Lila Shin, do you even have a fucking heart? 10 years of feelings between us, and you can just throw it away like that? How can you not feel any pain at all? Or have you never loved me in the first place? Not feeling any pain at all. Lila Shin smiled bitterly. How could she not be in pain? She simply chose to express her sorrow in the solitude of the night. Countless times, she woke up to find her pillow soaked with tears. Countless times, she cried until she felt sick. Countless times, she wished it was all just a nightmare, and everything would return to normal when she woke up. "Griff Goo, you are the least qualified to bring up our 10-year relationship, because it was you who betrayed that decade of feelings. Why should I forgive? I don't want to spend every night lying beside you wondering what you were like with other women. I don't want to spend the future suspecting you're with another woman every time you're not by my side. I don't want to be a resentful woman. Griff Goo, I beg you, let me go." Griff Goo covered his face, crouched on the ground, his voice choked with sobs. He knew, he had truly lost Lila Shin. "Can we still be friends in the future?" Lila Shin shook her head. "No." "Alright." Griff Goo finally left. And Lila Shin breathed a sigh of relief. Her days were as usual, filled with fulfilling work and an orderly rhythm. Little did she know, another uninvited guest was about to arrive. Compared to half a year ago, Esme Lin looked as if she had aged 10 years. Her face bore a bitter expression, with none of the youthful radiance she once had. Lila Shin flipped through the documents in her hand without looking up, asking, "What are you here for?" Esme Lin whispered, "To apologize to you." Lila Shin paused her work and looked up. "You have 5 minutes. I have a meeting after that." Esme Lin suddenly sat down beside Lila Shin, grabbing her arm, tears streaming down her face. "Sis Lila, I know I was wrong. Please, I beg you, talk to Griff Goo and ask him to let me go. I shouldn't have sent you those videos, shouldn't have brought the ultrasound report to you, and definitely shouldn't have ruined your birthday. I have now lost my fertility. This is my retribution. I only beg Griff Goo to spare my parents and stop seeking revenge on us." Lila Shin frowned and spoke coldly. "First, I don't have a sister. Don't call me that. Second, your mistake wasn't sending me those videos, showing me the ultrasound report, or disgusting me on my birthday. Your mistake was knowingly being the other woman. Third, Griff Goo and I have already broken up. How he treats you has nothing to do with me. Lastly, you're not actually admitting your mistake. You just can't bear the consequences and want someone else to pay the price for you. I'm not stupid. Why should I help you?" After speaking, she glanced at her wristwatch and stood up. "Time's up. I hope this is the last time we meet." Esme Lin gritted her teeth and roared unwillingly. "Lila Shin, how can you be so cruel? You're a woman too. I can never have children again. What more do you want from me? Aren't you afraid of karma?" Lila Shin let out a light laugh, then let karma ensure she never has to lay eyes on that scumbag and his despicable woman again in this lifetime. 5 years later, Lila Shin returned to the country. The Oriental Miss series she co-directed with Tobias Wren was successfully completed. Just as Professor Brown predicted, Lila Shin became a highly sought-after top jewelry designer. The companies she collaborates with are almost all internationally renowned brands, with design fees for a single product reaching millions. After returning to China, she partnered with Tobias Wren to establish her own exclusive jewelry brand. Their products are exquisitely designed with a unique style, blending sophistication with a touch of bourgeois charm. They are deeply favored by women of taste. In just 1 year, they reached the top of the industry. She could finally sit with those successful individuals, chatting and laughing over a cup of coffee, discussing a stock, and talking about financial trends.